And honestly,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm glad we got it.
yeah, me too.
That's not good.
Well,
We would have tracked you down in your car.
No, as long as it's on my calendar, I'm good.
I had it on the wrong time. That was probably my fault. Michelle's like, are we
Okay.
at 1 o'clock or 10:30? I'm like, oh shit, I had it wrong.
Welcome to episode 37 of the Now podcast, Making Moves in Real Estate. Today's guest is Russell Enyart, principal broker associate of the Enyart Real Estate Group and a true real estate powerhouse. Courtney and I have met him
Yes.
multiple times, so this is true. With a BA in economics and an MS in financial economics, Russell's background in leadership spans roles from district manager to senior sales manager at Samsung Electronics, as well as teaching economics at Sierra College. In 2019, he made his mark in real estate, quickly becoming a go-to agent for REO properties and closing over $190,000 in GCI in his first 9 months. By 2021, Russell co-founded USAHomebids.com, built a network of 400 agents across 20 states, and grew his eXp Realty team to 50 agents. Today, he's an entrepreneur, mentor, and driving force in the industry. Let's dive into his journey and hear how he's built such an impressive career.
Woo! Welcome, Russell.
Let's go, Russell.
Hey, you guys are full of energy. I love it. Thank you so much for having me today.
Have you ever met us when we're not full of energy?
No, probably not. That's a good point. Yes, you guys were always full of energy.
That is
Good
how we
call.
roll.
I mean,
love
faking it, make it right here.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, no, I'm
Coming in hot.
yeah. So where are you right now, Russell? Are you in the Sacramento area?
Yep, I have a little office in Orangeville. I bought the second year I was in real estate business. I was in the middle of COVID, right? And everybody thought nobody was going to ever want an office again. So I got a fantastic deal on an office condo. And so now I support 26 agents out of this office, which is cool.
Wow, I didn't realize you had so many in there.
Either. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Well, they're not all here, I'll tell you that. So it's funny, right? You know how real estate goes. It's like, well, how are you doing so well? Well, one of the things is I do work every day that I'm not, on vacation. So that's part of the deal, right? Is putting in the work. Now, there's a whole bunch of people that do come in on a regular basis. So I can't throw all 26 under the bus. But yeah, if you actually do what you're supposed to do in real estate, it's very fruitful.
Well, our listeners want to hear like how you obviously have made such a successful business. So you made the switch from like a retail leadership role into real estate. How'd that come to be?
Yeah, I got fired. So in January of 2019, we had a new leader that came into the company that I was working for. I was the regional for Samsung Corporation. So I was running the Northwest 11 states. There was a handful of us, and I think there's one left from the 5 of us that were there when that person came in. So I was just a casualty of senior leadership when they want to bring in their own people. I was interviewing for 2 other corporate jobs when I got a message from a guy that says, "Hey, you're a pretty crappy agent. You should come work for me." And he was right. I was a crappy agent because I was doing real estate on the side. I was selling my flips. So, I would do between 2 and 4 flips a year. So those are the only transactions that he saw. And I told my wife, "Hey, we're on a nice severance. We're in the middle of interviewing. We had it narrowed down to 2 companies. I think I'm going to go have coffee with this guy." And when I was done talking to him, I was super impressed. And he realized I wasn't just some, goofball that didn't know how to sell real estate, that I actually came from a different career. And I asked him a personal question. I said, "Hey, I'm in the middle of an interview process right now, but I love what you have been talking about. But my family has become accustomed to a pretty nice retail leadership salary. Do you mind if I ask you what you made last year?" And that's when everything changed for me. He said, "Yeah, I don't mind if you ask. Yeah, I made 1.4.
You're like,
And that was significantly more than I was making, even my corporate leadership role. And so I came home and I told my wife, listen, all I got to do is be half as good as him, and we're going to about double our salary. And so that was the start of my real estate full-time career. Was when I realized how much money that real estate folks actually make. No idea.
Did you go, was this someone that was with EXP, or was this a different brokerage you were interviewing?
No, it was Keller Williams.
Okay.
And so that's where I started with that gentleman. And what I found right away was that the folks in the office immediately saw me as competition, even that guy that was so generous to, walk me through how real estate worked. And so after about 7-8 months at Keller Williams, I realized it was the wrong spot for me. Everybody was super nice. They had no problem, letting me teach all the classes 9 months in, which I didn't expect I would be doing. I thought I would be learning from everybody. And so I was actually going to open my own brokerage when my brother-in-law, who's an E&O insurance salesperson, told me that there's no way he's letting me do that. The liability is way too high. Even brokers that have been in business 15, 20 years, they get hit with that very first lawsuit and life changes. And then he told me about EXP. And so I was able to do my EXP research because I had an ally in the industry.
And I bet when you do research, you really do research.
Like
with your background, with economics, you probably dove in. What was it that you liked so much?
He actually echoed what I've now heard from Don Yoakum, which is EXP gives you the leverage of being a real estate broker and building a team without any of the risk or infrastructure cost. Not only that, you can build, internationally now, right? 20 plus countries, but definitely outside of your state, which is really, really cool. And so he also knew who Brent Gove was. So he's like, hey, listen, you need to get in Brent Gove's group. I know they offer like some type of tiered support. I'm not sure exactly how it works. And so I worked really hard to get into the right line of folks at EXP. So I feel like I have really good support all the way down.
That's awesome. And what year was that? 2000?
That was 2020. So April Fool's Day, 2020 was my first day at EXP.
Oh, nice.
Wow. And so you were a solo agent up until this time, and then you started building your team?
Well, kind of. So I read Gary Keller's Millionaire Real Estate Agent book before I started at Keller Williams. So that's like the first thing I did before I jumped in with both feet. And I hired an assistant, which you have to do right away. I built my niche in REO real estate right away. And then I started building a team. And I realized I think that's the part of the book that no longer applies, is building that team with buyer's agents. Because once you, at least at Keller Williams, now at EXP, it's different, but at Keller Williams, once they get good, they ditch you, right? And so that strategy wasn't working. So to answer your question directly, no, I started a small team at Keller. When I came over to EXP, I just told them all I was leaving. If they wanted to come, they could come. They didn't have to come. And I came over essentially by myself at first. And then I had a couple of stragglers that came over after.
And so they came on your production team or just sponsored by you?
So I had a handful that came over in the first 6 months that were sponsored by me. And if we're going to jump into the rev share piece, I had, everybody told me to do it. I came over. One of the parts of my history that we didn't cover when you were doing my intro was out of grad school, I was an equity trader on the East Coast. So I understood stock very, very well. And that was one of the compelling things that I had when I came over. In 2019, EXP was still not profitable. However, their cash position, because they're publicly traded, they have to, give you their financials every year. Their cash position every quarter was getting into a more positive space. So I was excited about the stock. So I came over because I could, eventually build a brokerage, but I really liked the stock option. And it wasn't until November of 2021 where I had this amazing deposit in my bank account that I couldn't figure out where it came from. And I guess I still didn't fully understand rev share, that I turned the corner. So I started building my team here at EXP right after that. It was a $2,700 deposit. And my rev share at that point was $400 a month. And so I was in the EXP support world telling them that they had accidentally put money in my account and we needed to figure out what it was. And that's when the light switch came on, right? That, oh my gosh, this could be something significant.
Wow. That's a great story.
So how many agents? I know the bio I said was 50, and I reached out.
Yeah, so I have like 120 today, like 120-ish today.
Why didn't you tell me to correct that? I said, is this correct? You're like, yeah, that's not correct, Russell.
No. Yeah, no, 120-ish today, somewhere right around there. We've had some folks leave over the last couple of years, just like everybody else, but we have been trending up. I think we've added like 40-ish this year, which is great.
That is great. Wow.
Savage.
And then, of course, you're still like highly in production. What is your focus these days? I know it was REO. Is that still kind of your main focus for your business now?
Yeah, I'd say for a production perspective, REO. I still go to the 5-star conference. I'm part of the NRBA, which is, I think, the hardest REO network to get into for brokers. I'm part of NADP, which is a little easier, but they have great conferences and great content. But I took Q2 off to build a coaching program and to build a referral program. So the referral program's up and running. Coaching program should be up and running in a few more weeks. As you know, things always take longer than you thought they would. And even though I took off an entire quarter from production, it still didn't go as fast as I had hoped. And then I took off June and July for family and softball and stuff. And I could do that because of the rev share, which was fantastic. But we're back in the thick of it now. And the main focus of my business is distressed real estate, mainly REO. We do have some pre-foreclosure stuff that we do, but mainly REO.
And do you still pick some of those up for yourself for flips, or is that pretty much all the time?
Yeah,
okay.
All the time. Yeah. No, I have a number of flips that we're doing right now. So they'll be coming onto the market. We just sold another one. I have one in Lincoln. I'm building my first ADU on one of them. So that should be fun. Nice. Yeah. It's not as easy as people said. They're like, oh, just go to the counter and get a permit and you can start building the next day. That has not been my experience so far. I still think it's going to be lucrative, but it's definitely not as easy as they said it was going to be.
It's not in our area either. It's the state, is promoting it and wants us to use it, but I'm finding that many counties are still pretty behind on making it streamlined, which I don't understand why. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, like even in the county that I'm in, they have 3 preset ADUs that you can pick from, but that's only for getting quotes. Then you actually have to get plans. Then the city I'm in, even though it's in the one that I'm building in, it's part of that county, but because they're city ran, then they sub all of their work out to a third party. So it's even more difficult. So far it hasn't been easy. I'm going to try one in Sacramento County next because I can build for way less than these other folks are charging. And, the only problem that we're running into with ADUs is that the appraisal won't come in. So you have to have somebody that's got plenty of money down.
Got it. Okay. Interesting.
So I wanted to know about the usahomebids.com. Is that your referral network or what is that exactly?
No. So I got involved with that essentially right away. So right when I got into Keller Williams, as you know, I left a nice corporate salary. And the only reason I made $190,000 plus in the first 9 months is because I had to. My family spends that much money, so I had to make that much money, right? And so I had no choice. So I was taking every class known to man, and one of them was the home bids class from the original founders of the original website. And I thought it was a kind of a gimmick, didn't think it would work. And I was in a listing appointment when the folks told me that they were going to be interviewing other agents, and that had never happened to me before. And even though I was like 4 months into the business, and I'm like, holy moly, what did I say wrong this time? Because everyone else has signed on the dotted line. And the only thing I could think of that they pushed back on was the commission that I was earning. And I was asking for 5%. So 2.5 for me and 2.5 for the other side. And then the length of my contract, which was 4 months, which was reasonable back then. In 2019, it was taking about 30 days to sell. So it gave me a little bit of cushion, right? And so I threw the Hail Mary on this class I could barely remember that I had taken. And I said, hey, I can do it for 3%. And instead of a 4-month, I can do a 13-day contract. And the guy almost got upset with me and asked me why I didn't mention that before. And I said, well, it's this new technology. Some people are afraid of technology. Sometimes when I lead with it, it scares people away. And he said, listen, we're interested in anything that saves us time and money. So I finished my pitch to the best of my recollection of what that home bids product was. And then they signed the modified listing agreement before I left. After I left, I had to modify it again because I didn't do it right. And those guys were great. And since then, I've done well over 100 on the platform. And I loved it so much that we rebuilt it from the ground up with a couple of partners, and we bought it from the original founders. They're still equity partners. But yeah, it's amazing now. We're about ready to go public Q2 of 2025. And what I mean by public is we'll start signing big companies. We rebuilt it starting August of 2023. So about 14 months ago. We enrolled at about 26 states now with state directors. And so we're still finishing the infrastructure on the back end. It's a phenomenal tool to grab listings, and then you end up with hundreds of people at your open houses. They look like Black Fridays at Best Buy, which is pretty cool. And we have a really, really good time with them. So it is starting to take off.
What is it though? Is it like auctions? Is it putting a house as an auction style?
It's very similar. So what I don't like about most auction sites is that that's what they leverage is the auction. We're not an auction site. However, we do leverage the bidding mentality, and we put the agent back at the center of the transaction. So if you look some of the competitors, you'll see that they end up way below retail once they're done marketing the home for whomever is selling it, whether it be a bank or an investor or whomever. What's great about ours is we put the agent at the center. So the agent's marketing the property. The agent just uses the platform as leverage to drive the price for the seller. So we end up with normal, beautiful, gorgeous homes on here. Like I'm selling one right now in Rancho Cordova that's like worth $800,000. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's probably all the comps are 775, but I think we'll get 8 for it because when people are bidding, right, psychologically, they feel a sense of loss if they get outbid, and so they just naturally go about 4 or 5% over. So I tell my sellers it really covers all of your real estate costs, right? We end up above retail value, which is outstanding. So what is it in a nutshell? It is a listing acquisition tool. Then once you get the listing, it's the best buyer acquisition tool you've ever seen because we start the bidding at such a low price. And then our friends at Trulia, Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com, then advertise that really low price on the internet. And then the general consumer just wants to come see the home. So we end up with a bunch of unrepresented buyers that come through all of our open houses. It's like taking candy from a baby. My buyer's agents and my lenders die to go to these open houses. We're going to have one this weekend on that Rancho property. And then all my banks love it because it's fully transparent and they're getting way more for their properties than they would on some of the competing sites. I have a number of testimonials from asset managers that are using us. And now I have a bunch of banks that are using this website and that have left some of the other traditional websites. So I hope I did a decent job explaining it. But
yeah,
can
other agents list on there, or is this just for your team to put your own?
So yeah, anybody can list on there. We are broker agnostic. However, because we just rebuilt it last August, we have been growing slowly on purpose. It is now firing on all cylinders on the front end. So you guys that see the website think it's amazing. The bidding works great. Everything works great. It's beautifully working on the front end. Us adding agents and then our affiliates and our state directors to be able to see what's going on in the back end is still a little clunky because we've never done that before. So we're working through that, and we're hoping by Q2 of next year that will be smooth because that's when we have planned to go public with 2 big companies. So we should get 100,000-ish agents starting next April, May that are going to help us with the site.
Well, put us on the list.
I could put you guys on the list early. So we can, I'll make sure I set you up with our admin for the site and we'll get you trained. You'll love it. And I don't mind obviously jumping on a separate call with you and showing you how to use it to acquire listings. I'm a giver. So every other week, it's been on pause for a while now, but every other week, Courtney, I think you might've seen that I was doing for sale by owner calls.
Uh-huh.
And I land 7 to 13 listing appointments in a 2-hour period for other people using the website. Yeah, so I try to get back and show them how easy it is.
Okay, so I have a couple questions. That was going to be my questions for the listing. So are you getting leads from like banks saying these people are defaulting, or how are you getting that business, those appointments?
Yeah, so that's a great question. For sale by owners cancels and expires, right? Those are the ones that don't want to pay a full commission sometimes. They're maybe a little frustrated with the traditional process. And when they hear, that they're paying half a traditional and that they're only committing to 13 days, it's a super easy sell for them, right? They're willing to try something new.
They're like, why not try it?
Why not try it?
Get the open house within like the first, you sign the contract, do the open house is kind of the model.
Yeah. Yeah. The model, my background in econ, I try not to go against the system. According to NAR, Thursday, you make $3,000 more than any other day of the week listing. So our program follows all of the statistics. We list on a Thursday. First open houses are Saturday, Sunday. The bidding process itself lasts 11 days. So it finishes on the final Sunday, unless it's a holiday. Then on the Monday, we actually collect all of the contracts that people write. They write just a normal purchase agreement. And then from that point forward, it feels like the bidding platform never existed. You use the same contract you would in any other state, that you would normally use on a purchase. They get all the normal contingencies. The reason that we do 13 days is we collect contracts on day 12. And if we have to clean up any terms and conditions, we do that on day 13, and then we go towards close. Super nice.
That's more than super nice. That's amazing.
So then if I'm the agent that wants to be a part of this, is there just a member, like a monthly fee, or how do you get access?
We're trying to keep... Yeah, we're trying to keep the barriers to entry as low as we can. So it's a one-time training fee of $149. Make sure that you know how to use the website. You don't put us or you at risk. The website actually is a broker, so it earns a referral fee. So we want to make sure you're trained. And then you never pay another penny unless you actually close a deal using the site.
Because it's a referral fee, basically.
Yeah, it's a referral fee to the platform. Yeah, super easy.
That's amazing. I didn't even realize you were doing that. And I missed that memo. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's a ton of our business. If you go right now, we probably have, I don't know, somewhere between 15 and 20 active listings on the platform. That's about where we want to chug along for the rest of the year. And then hopefully in May, we start running 100 or more per week because the platform can sustain that type of pressure.
Have you seen any differences in the market on those leads? Like REO numbers, like distress properties?
Yeah, I mean,
is there any difference than say a year ago?
For sure. So I'm part of NRBA and NADP, so we have regular meetings, and so I get all of those numbers ahead of time. People are I think we may be at record highs on defaults on credit cards, which is a leading indicator for homes. Same thing with car loans. And so, the REO business has picked back up. The difference being is we'll never be back, in my opinion, at the 2008 levels. While I didn't partake in it as a real estate agent that was a broker and licensed and all of that stuff, I did as an investor. So I was buying flips back then. The banks are much more proactive now at trying to make sure that the people can stay in the house or solve the problem before they actually foreclose. That being said, we're back at pre-COVID levels, and it looks like it's going to get worse or better,
depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. Depending on your perspective.
Yeah. It's going to open some different opportunities.
And on the site itself, because we have so many properties every week, it's really neat because we can watch where the bidding ends up and tell you whether or not the market is heating up or cooling down, right? Like last week, we had a 0.5% bump up in the rates, and then we're really close to the election. So we had a pretty soft week. We were pretty flat with retail, where most weeks were 4 or 5% over what we're seeing on a retail perspective. So it's kind of fun to watch them each week. I can tell you that the great thing about this site is you get guaranteed multiple offers if you do it right. The seller at least then gets to entertain the offers that come in, which is nice. And for us on the back end, we get to see whether the market's really hot that week or it's cooled down a bit that week.
So great. I love everything about it.
Yeah. Really, congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What else do you have going on besides RevShare? We know you're chipping away at your EXP organization, but what other things are I'm doing a referral thing that's going to be built into the home bids. So I'm working on referral business in all 50 states through Google LSAs, if you know what that is. And then our online digital coaching product hopefully is going to be ready in the next 30, 45 days. I've been working on that since Q2. What's that? What is that for?
Two things. One is to make all of our current agents in our downline more productive, right? To help them, because there's not enough. I'm sure you guys know this. There's not enough of you guys to go around for all the people that need support, right? So when you create a digital product that has all of your trainings on it, while it's not as good as you, it's the next best thing. And so if you supplement it with live training, your own network will get better, right? So that's number one. Number two, what I have found is I try to, again, go out and do research and not buck the system. If you look at all the people that grew extremely fast at EXP, extremely fast, the reason that they grew is they were attractive, right? If you look at the Mike Sherrards, the Krista Mayshores, the Levi's, right? All of these people had some type of a digital coaching product or something else that they were offering that was attractive. And then those people just naturally gravitated to them. So the second goal is to make ourselves a little more attractive and to really offer some value add for agents that need some support. So those were the two things that we were trying to do.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
That's
Get
awesome. It. I thought you meant like physically attractive.
That's not the case. I look like Alfred E. Newman with my ears and, the old guy. I don't even look like my real estate picture anymore. I need to get that thing updated. So,
you look amazing, and so does the rest of your organization.
Well, that is funny what you say about the real estate photo, though. Like, there are so many realtors that their photos are like glamour shots from 20 years ago, and then you see them and you're like, wait, what? Woo!
Yeah,
you don't look anything like your photo.
Nothing like your photo. I knew I needed a new one when I went to one of my listings, and like, that's you on the sign. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, no, it's okay. You look much older. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Hey, if my photographer can't make me look good, then I should fire them, right?
Yeah. Right. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, Russell. So you got the coaching program, the website, your EXP organization.
And I actually want to switch gears a little bit because I see all your Facebook, your personal Facebook stuff. So softball appears to be a huge part of your world. Is your daughter playing in college, right? But then do you coach too?
Yeah. So thank you so much for asking. It's like my total passion, and it's a break from life, right? So 2 of the months that I took off this summer were for family vacations and for the travel softball. And yeah, if I didn't have softball in my life, I don't think I would be as balanced, but I'd be a lot richer. My oldest daughter, I'm going tomorrow to watch her play 2 colleges. She's playing San Jose State and somebody else. So she's playing college softball on a softball scholarship at Sonoma State. So we're super proud of her. And then my next oldest daughter, I have 4 kids. I have 2 girls, 2 boys. My next oldest daughter is on the most ridiculous team in the United States. And so, yeah, we travel all over the country. Our next 2 trips are going to be to Texas and Los Angeles for 2 big tournaments. And so, yeah, I spend a lot of time coaching girls softball. It's a lot of fun.
That is so awesome. We're a big sports family too. Not softball. We're a volleyball, basketball, and soccer family. But I love it. I love it.
It doesn't matter, right? They figured out how to take the money out of our pockets for sure. My daughter, while she got a softball scholarship, I still have to pay room and board, but it's cheaper than what I was paying for her travel softball year round. So I got a pay raise when she went to college.
That's crazy.
That's
crazy. Crazy.
I can't believe it.
What is the most ridiculous softball team that your daughter's on? What do you mean?
Yeah, so we're lucky enough to have this lady named Janae Layless here in Northern California. She was a 2-time national champion at the University of Arizona, and then she played on the U.S. women's team. And so she's a world champion gold medalist. And we're just blessed enough to have her in Sacramento. We obviously gravitated towards her. And then my older daughter, I was coaching their team and done a pretty good job. And so she asked us to come over to the organization. And then, as you guys know, I'm relatively organized and level-headed. And so she and I teamed up. And trust me, I know that the girls are not at our team for me. I know they're there for her. But every good player in Northern California wants to be around her. And then I just keep everything organized, and I'm obviously passionate and decent at the knowledge of softball. But she and I make a phenomenal team. And we'll see. We were going to make a real run at the national championship next summer, so it should be fun.
That is so exciting.
Very cool.
So exciting.
Yeah, 9th last year. So 9th last year at nationals. So fingers crossed. Yeah, they're going to be an older team this year. Yes. So fingers crossed that they make it all the way. We played a team that is supposed to make a run at it also, and we weren't full power this weekend, and it was really close. We did get beat this last weekend. But we were right there, and we were missing 2 of our key players. So they know we're going to give them a run. So we'll see how this next summer goes. It should be fun.
You got this.
It'll be here before you know it. So congrats.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us. You have just given us so much great information. I know our listeners are going to be definitely wanting to know where they can reach you. So if they wanted to either come to you for coaching or to, participate with your website, where can they find you, Russell?
Just text message me. I don't know if what your inbox looks like. Mine's terrible. So I would say send me a text message. It's 916-524-9733. And if they want to be involved in the platform, what I'll do is I'll hook them up with the lady that runs most of it for us. She does most of the heavy lifting, and we'll get them all dialed in. And if you guys want, at some point, we can do an extra training. We do have an on-demand training. So if somebody wants to list one like tomorrow, I can definitely hook them up with that. So it's super easy.
Yes. Awesome. Well,
thank you guys so much for having me. It's super, it's an honor and it's very humbling and appreciated. And it was really enjoyable. Thank you so much.
Oh, our pleasure.
Thanks,
for sure. And hopefully I see you at EXPCon. You going?
Oh yeah. I'll be in Miami a couple weeks.
I'll see you there.
I will not see you in Miami, but I will see you in Cabo.
Dude, we're bringing a ton of people to Cabo. We already booked 10 rooms, so we'll see you in Cabo for sure. It's my favorite event of the year. I'm coming in way early too, and then I'm renting a big boat the last day, so we'll have some fun at Cabo.
Yeah, so fun.
Okay,
cool.
Thanks,
all right.
Russell.
Thank
Bye, guys.
you.
See you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.